Ayo, welcome into CHGO Bets Daily, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app today and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Welcome into Studio B, of our CHGO studios here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson, live from Studio B. The B stands for bets. That's Cody Delmendo, my partner in degeneracy. You can follow him on Twitter at Cody_CHGO from his lovely abode. How do you guys get, weekly Monday live shows remote from home? And then Herb, Vinny, and I have to trek in through the snow. What's going on here? You guys, is Jake a Cubs fan that I don't know about? What's going on?
I really don't know.
See?
You can ask him.
Treatment. Yeah, I mean,
I don't even have to do shows on Friday either because Corey and Brendan do Cubs on Friday. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to do Monday from home, but that's a Jake question, man.
It's probably Luke. Luke with his years of experience and his grandpa tendencies. I think he probably got it into his contract.
Well, you got your own with Herb. You gotta tell Herb to
But Herb's not over that 5-0 number. Luke is. That's the big thing. No offense, Luke. We love you. But I don't think he's clicking on CHGO Bets Daily because I don't think he can open up his DraftKings app. We are being produced today by our guy, Lawrence Benedetto, the Law Dog. Very excited today, Cody, to talk some MLB futures, to wrap up our weekend, and to place some bets tonight. A lot of good promos as well on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You can follow us on Twitter at CHGO_bets. Cody's been tweeting out some promos too. When he logs on, he's screenshotting and sending you out what you got on the docket today, promo-wise. We'll get to that in the second half of the show, but I want to get into some futures. Obviously we'll get into the second half in the future, but we're going to get into the futures now in the first half. You're the Cubs guy. You just got done with CHGO Cubs. I got CHGO White Sox coming up at 4. I was thinking we look at our respective divisions, AL Central, NL Central. We look at the odds for our teams to make the playoffs, and then we look at maybe a certain player market here that we should take advantage of. I got one that I'm very excited, at least for the player market. I'm not sure how you feel about the division. What do you make of the NL Central odds? And is there a play for the Cubs to win the entire thing this year in 2023?
Well, the NL Central, you get Cardinals are favorites. I hate saying that at minus 120.
Who's their catcher?
Wilson Contreras.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't, Sean.
I did.
Milwaukee at plus 155, the Cubs at plus 650, Pirates plus 6,000, Reds plus 6,000. I mean, the Cardinals are favorites for a reason. I am surprised to see Milwaukee and the Cubs so far apart. If there's anything I could pick apart in this, you want to take a flyer on the Cubs to win division? You're going to need a lot of, obviously gambling involves a lot of luck. But the one thing that's, that I've held on myself to believe in maybe the Cubs being in it in September is, the Cardinals starting rotation is sus. They didn't really improve it this offseason. They are relying on Jack Flaherty to stay healthy. They got a 50-year-old Adam Wainwright with no Yadi Molina behind the plate now. And you made me mention Wilson Contreras. Well, his ERA splits are awful, and he didn't even catch as many games as Yan Gomes last year, and there was a reason for that. So, the Cardinals pitching is sus. Obviously, their offense is World Series level. I think their lineup is good enough to get them to the World Series, but their pitching is so – you don't like outside of Miles Michaelis, honestly, I don't know what you're going to get out of it. They have a decent bullpen. Their closer is really good. And, they got some other guys, Giovanni Gallegos. Like they have a decent bullpen, but will their starting rotation hold up? And do they have enough depth? I'm not sure. So,
and the one thing too, for the Cubs' favor, like we've seen that they've just been able to get bullpen guy after bullpen guy. I mean, they just got a haul for Scott Efros, and who was Scott Efros before he came to the Cubs organization and worked with their pitching lab. And, I think that's the one thing. Bullpens are pretty volatile. There's no guarantee that if you had a good bullpen in 2022, that it's going to be good in 2023. So I think that the Cubs could have some decent no-name guys or some former major leaguers that they've been able to revamp. And, you even see David Robertson that they were able to trade at the trade deadline to Philly. So I honestly think that you made a great point. I mean, looking at the Brewers at plus 155, why would I want to trust that broke ass organization? The Cubs are at least spending money. I mean, Milwaukee had to trade away their best player, one of their best players in Josh Hader, because they weren't going to be able to, keep him around because they're too broke. So I think at least at plus 650, if any team besides the Cardinals can win this division, I absolutely think it's the Cubs. Pirates and Reds, no way. And I just think that the Brewers are a wild card team at best. Like, who is their best player? I mean, it's Corbin Burns and it's Brandon Woodruff. And we know that, pitchers are so iffy. Like, it's not guarantee that those guys will be healthy for the full year. And we've heard this entire season that Brandon Woodruff's in trade talks. So maybe their price is finally met and they trade Brandon Woodruff. Like, I think the Cubs at plus 650 is a great price right now.
Yeah. I mean, Milwaukee, you ask who's their best player. I mean, you just look at their pitching staff. Their pitching staff will keep them in games. But the last 2 seasons, they've really fallen off in the second half of the year because their offense just ain't getting it together. And Christian Yelich, I don't know what happened to him after 2019. He's not nearly as bad as Cody Bellinger has been, but he hasn't lived up to that contract extension that they gave him. And, it takes more than one player to have a good lineup, but they pay him to be a run producer, and he just really hasn't been one for them. So if you're at plus 155, I wouldn't even touch Milwaukee. Like, if you're a Brewers fan happening to catch this, like, I would wait and see,
hopefully they have a bad April and then take them.
you're hoping they have like a sus April or something and then take them if you really want to. But the Cubs at plus 650. If you're going to make a bet right now, sure, and I know I'm wearing the Cubs hoodie, but they're the one with the most value. The Reds and Pirates, I do think the Pirates will be improved. I like some of the pieces they got there, but they're just not ready to be anywhere close to contending for this division, no matter how bad this division is. And that's another reason why I kind of like the Cubs in this division too, is because, like, I just gave you all those reasons about Milwaukee and St. Louis, and it's like, well, the Cubs have an improved rotation, they have an improved lineup, and their bullpen, like you said, Sean, they figure out a way to put guys out there every single year, people you've never heard of, and they've managed to put something together. I will say
sorry to cut you off. Who's the 5 in the rotation right now? It's
for the Cubs. I would say it's Marcus Stroman, Jameson Tyone, Drew Smyly, Kyle Hendricks won't be opening day, but he'll probably be more of like in May. Justin Steele, and with Kyle Hendricks probably not starting the year, it could be a combination of Adrian Sampson or Hayden Wisniewski. So,
are you in love with Steele? Is Steele a starter? I thought that was like a big a point. Like, is he a starter? Is he a reliever?
Well, last year there was a lot of questions about him, I would say.
Or am I thinking of Keegan?
Yeah, Keegan is probably who you're thinking of. Like, I think Keegan Thompson is a spot starter guy, probably going to get the best out of him out of the bullpen. But he can start for you, every now and then if you absolutely needed to. And that's the thing, is the Cubs have a lot of pitching depth. So those 5 guys I gave you, another injury goes down, and they have guys who can step in there, not only on the major league roster, but also, on the in the minor leagues as well. So, and something I haven't mentioned, that they have probably anywhere from 6 to 8 guys on the minor league system that could make their debut this year. So, they and that includes starting pitcher Jordan Wicks. So I don't know. He was a first round pick in 2020. Yeah, he was in the 5-round draft. So, they
TCU,
have a lot
right? Or Oklahoma?
I think it was TCU. So yeah, they have, the reason that they're plus 650 is they have a lot of questions. This is like there's no guarantees. They're hoping that Cody Bellinger gets back to some sort of form of 2019, not even like full on 2019, but like maybe like 50% of it. Like if he can be an average player, that's a plus for them. They're hoping, Seiya Suzuki takes another step. They're hoping that Ian Happ continues to be as good as he was last year. You're hoping for a lot of things. You're hoping Nico Horner takes another big step like he did last year. Like there's no guarantees. So that's why they're plus 650. If you think that they're going to take strides that a lot of people aren't, then yeah, I suggest taking Cubs plus 650. But
Cubs 80-1 to win the World Series. Yes or no?
No.
Okay. There's no make the playoffs. So I'll ask you about the World Series.
When the make the playoffs markets come out, I would suggest that more than the division. But again, at plus 650, you want to sprinkle on it. Like I support it. But I do think the Cubs have a good chance to make the playoffs and expanded playoffs there. You know what I mean? So, because
the Padres are better, and then you would probably say, wait, no, and then it's just the East that you have to worry about. The Phillies and Braves. Like those are the three teams that are for sure better than them, that aren't favored to win the division. So like you just have to have one of those, have one slip up or have a bad injury that really derails their season. It is possible, especially because it'll probably be around like what, plus 300, plus, maybe 275 at the lowest for Cubs to make the playoffs.
When it opens, I would assume so. Yeah. So, I think that there's definitely reason to talk yourself or to believe that the Cubs can be significantly better than last year. Again, they were awful in the first half and then finished 39-31. Remember me, Luke, and Ryan were significantly happier in the office in the second half of the year than you and Herb, which is something I did not see coming. No. So,
I didn't see the Cubs almost catching the White Sox.
They're coming into 2023 with a lot of momentum in a way, and with an improved roster with Dansby Swanson and Jameson Taillon and some of these other dudes, some of these not other underrated guys that people aren't really talking about. So in that division, I think they absolutely can compete in it. And another thing with the schedule, they're not going to play the Cardinals 19 times or any of those other teams, which that also helps the other teams. But at the same time, the Cardinals had one of the easiest schedules of the second half last season, and they got to beat up on the Pirates and the Reds a ton in their schedule. Again, they're not going to be able to do that. And also, like I said, the Cubs aren't going to be able to do that. But I do think the schedule difference will make an impact on how these teams in this division perform. So if you're down on the Cardinals pitching staff like I am, then a little sprinkle on that on the division ain't a bad idea in my opinion.
Your point about the playing all 30 teams, I think honestly favors the Cubs to win the Central more than it does the playoffs, just because I think the Centrals, both AL and NL, are going to get smoked, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's go to the AL Central. Right now, Guardians to win the AL Central plus 140, White Sox to win the AL Central plus 180, Twins to win the AL Central plus 280. If you like the Tigers, 22-1. If you like the Royals, 35-1. I will say I like the Royals a lot better than I like the Tigers at 35-1 compared to 22-1, but I don't like either team. Here's the thing. The Guardians, maybe they could repeat, but I'd be pretty shocked. It's tough to repeat in a division. They were the youngest playoff team ever last year. It's going to be very difficult for them to repeat, and they were pretty healthy along the pitching staff. I don't know if that repeats. The White Sox, they're obviously in some hot water. They just lost their fifth starter. I hope for the full season. I don't know where they're at. The Twins, they are aggressive. They consistently add. They have Carlos Correa. They have Byron Buxton. They have now 6 pitchers in their starting rotation. I really like the Twins at plus 280. I don't have a ticket yet for them to win the AL Central, but if I have any team that I would place a bet on to win the AL Central, it is the Twins. This ownership group seems really, really aggressive, and especially at the trade deadline. They were last year number 1, first place in the AL Central on August 2nd at the trade deadline. So they were in position last year. I don't think a lot of people remember that because they just had a lot of injuries down the stretch. And, that's the one thing that you're worrying about with this team is, will Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton in this, rotation have the wheels fall off? But at plus 280, I think they have such a high top end that I really do like the Twins to win the AL Central at plus 280.
They added Christian Vasquez too, which is a significant upgraded catcher. So
Joey Gallo.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely got some pop in the lineup, right? I think the big thing with them is like, can Byron Buxton stay on the field though? Like, I feel like they always fall apart when he gets hurt. And so we'll see. I mean, yeah, plus 280, taking a flyer on the Tigers or the Royals there. I mean, you're basically burning money. So I think
same with the Pirates and Reds. We could say that.
Right.
The bottom two teams in both divisions.
Right. So I would say, getting the Twins there plus 280 isn't a bad idea. Now, last year, I just because of the value, I did sprinkle on the Twins to win the division. But then I cashed it out at the All-Star break. The unfortunate thing is when I cashed it out, I put it on the White Sox to win the division.
Mercy.
And so I ended up losing that money anyway. Now, if I would have chosen the Guardians, I would have probably doubled my money. But they started off good last season, like you said. So maybe it's another scenario. Like you get to midseason, you can see the flaws in their team or whatever. Maybe you don't know if they're going to be able to sustain it for a full year. You might be able to cash it out, but I would say taking a flyer on the Twins on the AL Central is not a bad idea. White Sox, I mean, you're following them more than I do. They're obviously looking for more. They're looking for guys to bounce back. You're hoping Eloy stays on the field. You're hoping all these you're hoping Luis Robert stays on the field and performs like the stud you signed him internationally for. You need Tim Anderson to stay on the field. They are asking for a lot of like bounce back. The
ride's rickety.
Yeah, like
it's like the Golden Eagle. I mean, it's made out of wood. It's not metal. You don't trust it.
It honestly gives me a lot of
the ride is rickety on the north side. It's
there you go.
On the south side.
It honestly gives me a lot of like
both are rickety.
It gives me a lot of the same feelings I have about the Cubs. The only difference is like the White Sox are supposed to be in their winning window right now. So like, are they gonna get it together or not? And if they don't, then I don't know. Like they have the talent, they have the pitching. Can Giolito get back to pre-2022 form? Obviously you got a stud number one starter. Don't remind me about it. Like they got dudes who can do shit. You know what I mean? But can you trust them at plus 180? Like maybe they start out slow again. Maybe take a flyer later. I don't know.
But no, if they start out slow, I think they might start dealing. Like, I mean, this is a team that might be sellers at the trade deadline if they continue to fall apart. Like, I would stay away from White Sox futures until they prove anything. Just because I mean, there's now a question mark in their rotation. Like, I don't know who's going to be their fifth starter, and is it going to be Davis Martin? He might be a quad A guy. Like, there's way too many question marks with the White Sox. I do want to get into some player awards here. I'm going to go to the Rookie of the Year market. Grayson Rodriguez of the Orioles in the outfield, 10-1. He was at 20-1, but now the Mike Elias, the GM, I think it was, said that Grayson Rodriguez will be full-time with Major League Baseball. So I do think Grayson Rodriguez in the outfield will get a lot of reps, but that's also why I'm going to go to Oscar Colas at 22-1. Very similar to Rodriguez. He's going to get a lot of playing time, but a little differing from Rodriguez. I think that there's a lot more stake in Colas being good for the White Sox, and he's at an advanced age, being 25. I do think that he might have a little bit more of some immediate success compared to Rodriguez. So I think a little bit down the board, I do think White Sox outfielder Oscar Colas does have some value at 22-1, mainly because I do think he will be the starting right fielder. So I think right now is a perfect time to jump in, because I think once he actually gets that award, that line will probably go to about 15 or 13. So I think that's a good bet to jump in now, especially before he officially quote unquote wins that award.
Except that win that job. Hold on. Didn't you just say like 30 seconds ago, like I'm staying away from White Sox futures? And now you're betting.
Well, I'm staying away from White Sox team futures, not player futures. I mean, I think Dylan Cease can win the Cy Young. I just think the main thing that's going to hold back his candidacy is I think the White Sox are going to be dog shit. I think he's going to be really good. But I think that they might be horrible as a team. So I just think like them winning the division, I think you're throwing them, that's the 20, that's because of the 26 man, but that guy specifically, I think he could have a really good year, especially for his advanced age. I mean, all he has to do is hit, 30 home runs. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You know the AL a lot more than I do, so I might just stick to your advice on that. But as far as the National League, though, I mean, he's the odds-on favorite, but Corbin Carroll's going to be a stud at plus 400. It's probably the best price you're going to get him at now, unless he, sustains an injury early or something. But he's going to be a starting outfielder for the Diamondbacks opening day. I don't know why he wouldn't be at this point. I like him. I kind of like Francisco Alvarez. That's the catcher for the Mets. He was the number one prospect at the end of last year at plus 1,000, and the Mets are going to be really good.
No Matt Mervis love at 12-1.
Well, I do like Matt Mervis there at 12-1. I was getting there.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
But I think that Matt Mervis, will he get the at bats early enough? I don't know. I think he could be. I think there's a chance he could be up sometime in April. I also could see the Cubs waiting until mid-May, somewhere around there, depending on how many more at bats they want to see him in AAA. I personally don't know how many more he needs, considering he played about 50 games there, then went and played the Arizona Fall League and lit it up there too. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason he's at plus 1,200. He was one of the best hitters in minor league baseball last year, so there's really good reason to believe that he could do it. I mean, that said, Jordan Walker for the Cardinals is at plus 900. The only thing about him is like they're already loaded in the outfield. I don't know where he's going to get at bats. So that holds me back a little bit. Now, I do think Matthew Liberatore at plus 3,000 is kind of a fun, little toss out there, because I was talking about their pitching being sus. Well, if he's been like their number one pitching prospect the last year or two. He came up last year, made his major league debut, had some ups, had some downs. If he can be that guy for them, like if he can come up and establish himself, then that changes their team, and maybe he becomes a big part of their success at plus 3,000. I mean, I don't hate that. That flyer is the one flyer I have there, for him to do that. But again, I don't really know where he stands on when he could be up, if he will even start the year with the team, stuff like that. But those are the few that I like there.
There's also the long shot of Brennan Davis at 90-1 if he has some crazy spring training and ends up being the starting outfielder for the Cubs. But I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. It's the longest shot on the board, so I doubt
it's
that's
pretty wild how that happened, because at the beginning of last year he was like plus 2,500 to win Rookie of the Year, and now he's at plus 9,000. He has a lot to prove, and he's another one where I don't know when the Cubs are going to call him up. He's going to get called up this year if he stays healthy. But also the Cubs are kind of loaded at outfield. Obviously, Ian Happ and Seiya Suzuki. If Cody Bellinger plays well, then where are you going to use Brennan Davis if you did call him up? DH, I assume. Maybe get some spot starts out in the outfield if you can. Again, though, like, will they play him every day? I don't know. So there's a reason he's plus 9,000. But he has the talent to perhaps. I mean, he was a top 20 prospect going into last season. So, if he can stay healthy and, kind of burst on the scene, kind of like how Christopher Morel did last year, then who knows? So, yeah, I mean, it's fun to look at these because you just don't know, especially with like the prospects and stuff. You don't know when they're going to make their debut. So that's why I kind of touch on the guys who I think are going to be on the roster very like opening day. So again, Corbin Carroll, Francisco Alvarez, I don't see why those guys wouldn't be on their team's opening day roster. So,
yeah. All right, let's move on. We're going to take a quick break, let you know about DraftKings Sportsbook. We have a stepped up same game parlay, an NBA stepped up same game parlay for you. NBA fans, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hands with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet just $5 and win $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, for all limited time, all new and existing customers can get a no sweat same game parlay every day. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, opt in, and place a same game parlay on any NBA game. And if it doesn't hit, you'll get a free bet back. We got a same game parlay for you tonight. We're going to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. It's the Magic versus the Sixers. Oh, look at me with my crown. Thank you very much, Lawrence, for putting on the style there. Magic to cover 10.5. Markel Fultz over 9.5 in a revenge game, and Wendell Carter Jr. for a double-double. The Sixers are 0-2 against the Magic are 0-2 against the Sixers this year. However, the NBA did them really dirty. The 2 times they play the 76ers, it's a back-and-back, home-and-home. And the first game of the last doubleheader, it was a pretty close game, decided by, I think, about 7 points. And then the next game, it was a blowout for the Sixers by 20. I think coming off a huge game against the Nuggets, where I don't think Joel Embiid will play, it seems like Harden will likely play, but I don't know for how much. I think this could be a trap game for the Sixers. They've been really hot, but I think that, they're probably going to overlook the Magic here. They have another game against the Magic on Wednesday, so I don't really know how up they'll be for this game. And the Magic, too, have been pretty feisty. 1-1 against the spread in their last game. They didn't do well against the Bulls, but they did pretty well against the Heat. And they have a win recently over the Celtics. So I like this same game parlay at plus 400. But again, I'm not going to sweat about it because it's a no sweat same game parlay. So download the app, the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 in the NBA and get $200 in free bets instantly, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void in Ohio. See show notes for details. I do have a free bet. I lost, I think it was an NBA one. I forget what I lost. Maybe it was an NHL one. So I do have a same game or a free bet already. And we'll go back to Philly and Orlando. I put that free bet, $10 free bet on the Magic to win tonight. Magic money line at plus 410. And now that line's down to plus 310. So it pays to be a degenerate, folks. Plus 100 odds, basically, I gained for just jumping on that line early. I just don't think Embiid's going to play. I don't think the Sixers are going to be up for this. I think the Magic can be really sneaky. A youthful team that, if they're really locked in and loaded, could just run the Sixers out of the gym if the Sixers aren't ready to be there. The Chiefs money line at plus 110 to win the Super Bowl. I know it's 2 weeks away, but I'm not sure if Patrick Mahomes will stay the underdog for long. So I just want to jump on that Chiefs money now at plus 110. I think they're winning the Super Bowl. You got Andy Reid going up against his old team. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback. Their defense seems really, really capable. And I just don't think the Eagles are that efficient. I honestly thought that their game against the Niners wasn't that impressive, considering that Brock Purdy left that game so early, that it was Johnson. Like, I thought they could have really stomped on the Niners' throats. And I feel like, even though it was a 31-point game, I feel like it could have been a little bit uglier. And then finally, the other bet on that one, Lawrence, if you could just flash that screen back up, because now, it was Kolas to win AL Rookie of the Year at 22-1. So those are my straight bets, at least for today. Kolas to win Rookie of the Year, 22-1. A free bet on the Magic at plus 410. And then the Chiefs, $10 wager for them to win the Super Bowl against the Eagles.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I feel you on the Chiefs. I don't know what I'm going to bet yet. So I did, since we're doing futures today, I went ahead and did a 4-leg parlay of division winners. So I'm going Astros, Blue Jays. That's probably my one underdog or big underdog in there. Well, it's not even that big. It's like plus 220. But Astros, Blue Jays, Braves, and then the Cardinals at minus 120. Braves at plus 140 comes out to plus 2069. That's nice. $5 wins you 108. I think the Blue Jays are the big question there because the Yankees and that division is tough. But I do think the Astros, maybe the Mariners, finally explode, the way and not be a wild card team like last season. Who knows? Braves, that division is going to be tough. I don't care how much money Steve Cohen spends. I'm not going to trust the Mets. And, I already talked about the Cardinals. That's me kind of hedging my emotions. So, again, it's at plus 2069. I think that's the cool thing about DraftKings is you can parlay your division and your championship winners. So
get dangerous.
Yeah. So, I like that. Now, as far as tonight, an actual game, the college basketball slate stinks. But you get a stepped up a stepped up traditional parlay. It's like a 25% boost. I'm taking Virginia, Texas, and Iowa State money lines. $10 pays out 52. It's at plus 424. Virginia is a 5.5-point favorite at Syracuse. Texas is a 3.5-point favorite at home to Baylor, and Iowa State and Texas Tech is a pick'em. The Iowa State pick is the one that scares me the most, just because they're coming off a loss, and Texas Tech is coming off a win, but they have not won a game in conference. Are they due? They're 0-8. I'm not sure. We're going to find out. Yeah. But again, Iowa State coming off a loss, and they're clearly better than Texas Tech. The only thing, again, that scares me is they are on the road, and no matter how bad Texas Tech is, they're a tough place to play at. So that scares me a little bit, but I do feel good about Texas and Virginia winning outright. And those are the three main games. I lean Syracuse to cover the 5.5. But I think Virginia wins. I think it'll be a close game at the Dome or whatever they call it, where the Orange play. But I don't really like the slate tonight, so I'm gonna do that 3-leg parlay. We'll call it the "It's Just Nice to Win" one parlay again, and hopefully it actually hits this time. I'm gonna use that no sweat NBA boost. I just don't know what on yet. So
Orlando Sixer game, I'm telling you, there's an edge, baby. I sniffed it out. I think this line should be like plus 200. I mean, I still think that there's value on that plus 300. Again, it's no sweat, Cody. I mean, figure it out, find a player prop that I think you like, and then build it around that, because it's the same game. You got to figure out something. So maybe, find a player prop you like, whether it be points, assists, maybe a P plus R plus A. And then maybe build it around that, because there's a pretty decent amount of games today. There's the Wizards and Spurs. Wizards haven't won in San Antonio, I think, in 23 years or something like that. They haven't won a game in San Antonio since 1999. They're still favorites on the road, though. I think it's 5 points. So I like the Spurs. Do you think the Spurs are going to get blown up by 10 by the Wizards? I'm not sure. So maybe you go Wizards. Spurs game, tease a little.
The Wizards literally haven't. The Wizards really haven't won in San Antonio since the 90s?
Yeah, I'm not goofing, man. What, you think I make up these stats?
I don't know. I don't know. How is that not a stat that I've read online or anything?
I just saw it today. Because when are you paying attention? I mean, it's just games that don't happen often. Wizards, San Antonio.
They haven't won in San Antonio since the 90s?
The Washington Wizards have not won a game in San Antonio since December 11th, 1999.
Wow. Okay.
No Kristaps on the Wizards injury report, so he should be good to go. So I like the Wizards to finally break that streak, but so does Vegas. So I don't know if I like them. I think it's up to 5 points too on the favorites.
I don't want to take the Spurs just for the trend.
Hey, if you got some bones, put them down. All right, the Tyrant Teaser Town's gonna have an empty castle tonight. We're gonna be just multiple screens, multiple streams, just heading up and going to college basketball. You said you didn't like the slate. There's always value, Cody. When you're doing teasers, there's always value, even if you don't like the slate. You mentioned Syracuse against Virginia. Syracuse has always done a pretty good job against Virginia and their ability, and Syracuse can shoot. So that's the biggest thing that you need to do against that defense, especially in the Dome. I don't think they lose by 10. So I think they cover that 10.5. We're going to tease that up from 5.5 to 10.5. North Carolina Central going up against Norfolk State. Norfolk State was the favorite in this conference before the year, but they've kind of been a little bit iffy. I think North Carolina Central has a good shot of winning this game, even though I think Norfolk State is a little bit more talented. I think North Carolina Central has the better team, and they've gotten better results this year, so I don't think they're going to lose by 10.5. Delaware State plus 11. Coppin State's been bad, Cody. I know you're a huge Coppin State head fan. They've been bad. I don't think they're going to be able to beat a team by double digits. I think Delaware State does have a chance to win that game as well, and I'm getting them to cover 11 points. University of Maryland Eastern Shore going up against Morgan State. Humes is one of the best teams in college basketball that's not being talked about. Everyone was talking about Temple beating Houston. Guess who beat Temple? Humes. Let's go. Humes is a great acronym too. Who doesn't want to bet on Humes? Humes. Then Jackson State plus 14. The SWAC. I think it's the SWAC. The blowouts really don't happen in that conference a lot. So plus 14, I really just don't see that line being covered. So a lot of road teams just not getting blown out is the strategy today. I think every single one of those bets were a road team. I think it's going to be a competitive night of college basketball. So we'll roll with some road teams.
mid-major, since we're talking about mid-major schools here.
Love it.
Start fading this. Well, hopefully this isn't a jinx, but start fading Iona, because I bet Siena on Friday and I bet Quinnipiac yesterday, and both of them covered. And Siena actually won outright as a 7-point underdog. And Quinnipiac was up by double digits and blew it, but still managed to cover the 8. So I know Iona is one of the better mid-major schools, especially in the conference that they're in, but something's going on with them right now. So consider fading them their next game whenever.
Yeah, the Rick Pitino magic is wearing off, huh?
I don't know what it is. They're just not playing well right now. I mean, I watched that game against Siena and it was bad. Like, they were turning the ball over, they were just throwing up bricks. I don't know. All I'm saying is, for right now, they're a good team to fade, and they're going to be a favorite no matter what because of who their coach is and their expectations and what their record is. So
all right. There's the hot tip. The next game is going to be on February 3rd, Friday, February 3rd, aka payday against Mount St. Mary's. So hey, maybe we'll get that paycheck and then roll on the Mount St. Mary's spread, Cody. That's going to do it for CHGO Bets Daily. We do the show daily. We'll be back tomorrow for Big Ten After Dark with our guy Braggs. Purdue still #1 in college basketball, so I know he'll be annoying about that. We'll also talk Illini basketball and cover all the happenings in the Big Ten, where Northwestern's still alive too. Maybe Carm will make another secret appearance. That's Cody Delmendo. You can follow him on Twitter at Cody_CHGO. You can follow us on Twitter at CHGO_bets. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. And thank you to our great producer, Lawrence Benedetto, the Law Dog, for producing the show. Peace out. We'll talk tomorrow when we're millionaires.